Well, what's up guys? What's up everybody? I'm back here at Kia of Bradenton, Florida, and this right here is a 2022 Kia Carnival. This is a brand new addition to a Kia family, and I'm excited to take in the tour of this vehicle. We're going to check out the exterior, interior. We're going to jump right inside of this vehicle, check out the roominess in the first, second, and third row seats. Look what's behind the third row seats, how much room it has, what's underneath the hood, and finally I'm going to take you for a spin. If this is your first time watching this channel, my name is Matt Samolski. I am Matt the Car Guy, and on this channel I do car reviews. So if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and hit the little bell notification button so you don't miss any of the cool videos that are coming up. So if you're ready, let's go. Well, we're gonna stay right in front of this vehicle, and I gotta tell you, I mean, if you look at this car up front, you probably think that we're looking at another SUV, more so than a minivan. I mean, it's got the hood that's completely different than all of the competition, like the Honda Odyssey, the Chrysler Pacifica, Toyota Sienna. So this hood is straight up, okay? It's flat right here. It has a little bit of a rise right in the middle here, so that looks more like a minivan, more masculine look in here. As far as the lights, that's a completely different setup than any other Kias that I've seen. Now you have your position lights, basically those yellow lights right on the side here. Then you have your regular lights here. These are your high beams, plus you have this like kind of a zigzag LED strip that goes around here, and that goes around this turn signal that's built in here. So very creative, very new, very different design on this. The bumper, you know, it has a little bit of indentation right here, and then this right here is an air intake right here, and that's actually open. This one is not. This is probably where on the SX model you'll see some of the fog lights. Now, three different colors basically on this vehicle right here. This is the color of the vehicle. Now, another thing to point out, this is a brand new Kia logo. Now, all of the 2022 cars are going to come up with this redesigned Kia logo. It's no longer going to be this oval with a Kia inside. That's what it's going to be. Looks a little bit different, a little bit more modern. Now, as far as the grille, you have a little bit of this tiger nose grille, tiger shark nose grille in here, but then it's wrapped around with this brushed aluminum on top as well as on the bottom, and the same thing continues at the bottom side of the bumper. Now you have some of those vertical slots in here, and part of this bottom part of this grille is open. The top one is closed, but that still provides you enough air circulation inside of the engine to keep it nice and cool. So before we go to the side view of this vehicle, let's check out what powers up this. All right, let's check up what's underneath the hood of it. And here it is. This is why my first complaint about this. It does not have the hydraulic struts. It has this little prop stick that holds the hood in place. So it is a pretty heavy hood, and I wish it had it. So if you're listening, Kia, you had it on some other cars, this would be great. Anyways, what powers up this thing? Look at this. It's a V6 engine, tried and true, 3.5 liter V6 engine, delivering 290 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque to the front wheels via 8-speed automatic transmission. So we'll see how that handles, but that's pretty much in line with the Honda Odyssey. Very similar specs on this. I'm curious how it drives. Well, let's check out the side profile of this vehicle. And I say vehicle because there's some conflicting theories of what it actually is. So when I was getting ready to do the review, I go like, oh cool, Kia comes up with a new minivan and it's called the Carnival. And then I started digging into it, and Kia wants to refer to this vehicle as an MPV. I go like, what the hell is MPV? Well, an MPV is a multi-purpose vehicle, so it's not a minivan, so it's not an SUV, but it's an MPV. And maybe it's because they wanted to take the stigma of minivans away, that it's kind of not cool, not manly. So for all of you guys who buy this minivan, so if you're working out in the gym and you're all buffed up and somebody comes up and say, hey bro, what are you driving? You can say, hey, I'm driving an MPV. What are you driving? A Jeep? Well, that's not cool. Well, anyways, let's take a look at this MPV, but it does have a lot of minivan-like characteristics, including, first of all, how it sits on the ground. So it sits low to the ground, it's long, it does have a rear sliding door, it's got big windows all around, so that gives you a lot of light inside of it. As far as the body lines in here, there's one body line that goes all the way across. Like I mentioned before, big windows right here. It's got this characteristics to this MPV trim right in here that's a different color than the body color of the vehicle, and then the rear window is a little bit smaller. Also, what you have here, you have the mirror caps that are color coordinated, and it does have the LED turn signals right in here. You also have, on this particular one, it has 19-inch wheels, nicely aluminum. And then the door itself, none of them are really anything special. There's no crazy trims, crazy body lines like on some other ones we've seen, but it does have a little bit of the matte black at the bottom. So I'm curious of how much room it has inside, but before we do that, let's finish up and let's check out the back portion of this car. MPV, minivan, SUV. Well, so today, let's take a look at the back, because it's actually completely different than anything else we've seen on the Kia. You have this nice gate spoiler right on here. You have this LED brake light, and where is the wiper? Guess where? It's right here. Now, Kia's been doing that in a lot of vehicles. It hides the wiper underneath here to protect it from the elements, which is a very, very smart feature. Now, I showed you on the side that there's this trim, kind of this polished aluminum trim that continues all the way here and then all the way across the vehicle. Now, as far as the lights, this one has the LED lights in here, and I'm not sure if they're light up. I'd have to check it, but I believe some of it does. And it goes all the way across the vehicle. It does have this new Kia logo right in the middle of it, and then it says Carnival right at the bottom. Now, I'm not sure what they were thinking about putting up this thing. It says it because it's Carnival, like a lot of fun, kids are going to the Carnival, or maybe they were talking about how roomy it is and compare it to those huge Carnival cruise ships. But it is a nice design minivan, and I gotta tell you, I mean, it is hard to redesign a minivan and have the same or more roominess and making it modern, because as you've seen at some of the other cars, you know, they're making those minivans a little sportier, lower to the ground, they kind of slope down in the back, and that cuts into the roominess inside of it. Now, Kia doesn't do anything like this. I mean, it's still as wide, it's still as tall, it's pretty much straight up, but they did it with incorporating a lot of different accents like the lights. Now, you see the turn signals right at the bottom of here, some reflector lights and the reverse lights in here, a little bit of the matte black, that's where the sensors are for all of the technology, and then you have the polished aluminum trim right at the bottom in here. Big handle. Now, you don't really have to manually pull this open. You press the button and basically the gate opens up. Let's see how high it is. Okay, so it does have quite a bit of room when I open it up. So now let's check out the roominess behind the third row seat. And I wouldn't complete the review of a minivan without doing what I do to all of them, which is this. Basically, I'm going to jump in and see how much room there is in this little tub behind the third row seats. Now, the third row seats, I have them leaning back. So, I mean, you can actually make those seats stand up straight like this, and I would have a lot more room. But that's also a nice feature to see that those seats are actually reclining, which is great. Let's check out the rest of it together. Okay, so let's take a look and see how much room there is behind the third row seat, and see this tub that I was sitting in. It's quite deep. It's actually pretty deep. It's probably deeper than on the Honda Odyssey or Toyota Sienna. I'd have to look at the dimensions to compare it, but it definitely feels like it and looks like this. You have a little bit of storage in here, both on top and the bottom. You can store something in here if you'd like. This actually opens up and you have your tools for the spare tire, or to remove the spare tire, I should say, and then you have a 12-volt outlet right in here. As far as the seats, we'll take a look at this, because this is what I laughed about at one point. Now, the hinges are pretty much exposed for the seats, and that's because by removing the covers from it, the manufacturers are aiming to have the highest cargo capacity. And how are the seats folding down? Is it automatic? Nope, it's manual seats. I'm not sure if the SX or SX Prestige would have the power seats, but I did check it out, and it's actually fairly simple. Basically, all you do is you take this, see how it is? It folds down. So there's a little handle right here. It shows 1. You pull it when it gets to the certain point, and then you basically push it down to have the seats folded in here. Now, as far as the roominess in here, it's got quite a bit of room, and it's very, very tall, so you can fit tons of stuff inside of here. And we can see from here you have cup holders on both sides, 3 cup holders on one side, 3 cup holders on the other side. And what's very interesting and unique about this vehicle, see that middle seat right here? Okay, you can actually either remove it, okay, you can have it where it's at, you can fold it flat and have this nice console with the cup holders, or see the rails at here, you can actually slide it all the way back. Let me show you how it looks. Okay, so see how it is? Now, it's kind of staggered. You have one seat all the way in the back seat's still folded, and then, you know, it can still go a few inches back if you'd like to, and then you can have the seats in the middle to where they're at. And, you know, actually that makes sense, because if you're sitting in between, let's say 2 car seats, there's really not enough room for anybody. But if you move it back, you have all the room that you want. And, you know, the seat of course reclines as well, so you can make it more comfortable for yourself and still have room for stuff in the back here. Well guys, so when we're talking about the doors right here, I'm going to show you the key, because this is the new Kia key, right? We've seen it before. Now this one has a little bit more buttons, because it has the buttons for the sliding door and the remote starter, and then all the other buttons are on the side and here. Plus it does have this new Kia logo on it. So let's see if we can open this door, and let's see how much room there is while open. And I gotta tell you, it does have quite a bit of room, so I can easily walk in. And this front seat is actually adjusted to my regular driving position, and I reclined it probably even more than I normally would. So let's see these seats right here. First of all, they do recline. Okay, now do they have a front and back feature? And they do. Now this is all the way back, but really no shortage of room, plenty of headroom, quite a bit of shoulder room, and like I said, I have this middle seat moved back, so this one allows me to have my maximum capacity as far as the room for the shoulders in here. Well guys, can you see me? So I'm sitting in the third row seat, and I gotta tell you, even with this seat all the way back, I have enough room for me and the passenger next to me. So 2 adults can sit fairly comfortably in the third row seat, or 3 kids. Now 2, 2, and 2 would be a perfect combination for a long trip if you are good with that, that would be a perfect vehicle. As far as getting out of this, because a lot of minivans make it too complicated, there's a little loop, you just pull on it, and what happens, it releases the bottom of the seat, you push it out of the way, and then you can easily get out of this car. And what I like about it also is the space right here, because it's important that you have enough room to get in and out. So let's check out the second row seat. All right, well, let's check out that second row and see what's so special about it. Well, first of all, you know, I have this seat folded down right in the middle there, and you know, you can see that it leaves a really nice tray with the cup holders for the middle passenger, or the cup holders for the back passenger, because there's a set of cup holders right here for the middle passengers. What else is here? So you have your power outlet, you have a little bit of storage underneath here, and then you can see also of how long are the front or the middle seat rails, how far forward they can go in case you just need to put something in the back and have the maximum room. As you can see, it has the rear sunshade in the middle row as well as in the third row. And what's cool about this here, right here, it's got this little camera right here. I don't know if you can see it, it's right in here. There's a camera, so it projects. It's kind of like the second rear view mirror, so it projects the image to the front screen. We're going to check that out in just a little bit. Seats, now this is not real leather, this is kind of that man-made leather, but it feels really nice, it's comfortable, and it's nicely textured as well. And this is the second row seating. What I also want to point out, that you can close the doors by pushing on the button right here, and we'll check it out. I've never done it before on this car. Okay, good. So it does have that feature where the door touches something, it will revert and open, so the kids don't have to be worried about getting their hands caught in here. Well, let's check out the sound of the closing door. It's very nice, it's solid. I guess, you know, I've been doing that for a while, and I've been checking all of the doors, and really, I gotta tell you, they came a long way. The doors sound absolutely amazing for most of the cars right now. Let's check out the door in here. Now, it's got some soft materials right in the top of here. It does have a little bit of a light gray color, and then it's got that piano black trim. Not my favorite. Again, it does leave a lot of fingerprints, but I guess, you know, people say don't want the fingerprints, don't touch it. However, this is a high touch area, so it will be visible. You have your window controls, you have your mirror controls, and then you have your lock and unlock as well. You have your child safety lock in here, and then you have a speaker, and underneath here you have a little bit of a storage. So that's basically the door. Let's move to the interior. Again, we're going to check out the seat, and it has several ways of adjusting the seat, front, back. Obviously, you have that backrest support as well as two-way lumbar support, and the seat is nicely textured just like the ones in the back. And we're going to jump inside of it and check out what else is here, but probably the easiest way to see it is we're actually from here. So the buttons to open and close the door, and then you have a hold button. You can also turn off the power door off, and if you know, are afraid of people breaking it, I guess you can manually open it. Let's see how hard it is to open it manually. Wow, not hard at all. It's actually, I can see that if, you know, you're getting in and out school, and this is you want to do it fast, this is probably the way to go. What else do we have here? We have a dimmer switch, we have a lane keep assist, and the traction control that you can turn off in here. The rest of it we'll see from the interior. 2022. So let's look at the steering wheel first. It's the same steering wheel, but it's got the different Kia logo. It's got this new updated Kia logo on it. Left hand side, you know, it's got a bunch of buttons. Looks like it controls the radio or the media. Basically, it controls the volume. You can change the different tracks or channels, and it has different modes. You also have your favorite button, which is customizable, and you can do that on the infotainment system. And then you can also have your phone button right here. On the other side, you have basically buttons that control the middle portion of the instrument cluster, and we'll look at it in just a second. And that's basically your pages, then your cruise control, and this is for the adaptive cruise control, so you can adjust the distance between you and the car in front of you. You also have the lane keep assist button in here. So let's take a look at the instrument cluster right here. I mean, we've seen this instrument cluster in other Kia models, so there's nothing new in here, but this is a combination. There is an analog speedometer, analog tachometer, and as well as the gauges for the fuel and the temperature. Those are analog. Now you have this little screen in the middle here. Now for the SX Prestige, you will get a full digital screen, so it'll cost you a little bit more money. We'll talk about pricing in just a little bit, but this one has this little instrument cluster in front, and basically this just gives you a very limited functions of what you can see. So you can say tire pressure, car information, so like miles per hour, temperature, range, navigation system, and you know, some information button right here. So that's your instrument cluster. Let's move on to this. Now this is an EX version, so it's equipped with this 12.3 inch screen, and we've seen this screen at other Kia models. Now what's interesting about this, that if you get the smaller screen like on the LX version of this Carnival, you will get the wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. If you get this one, you still get the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but these are not wireless. You actually have to connect it through cable. So a little information about that, and that's interesting. So let's see. We've seen this one before, so I'm not going to go through all of this, but basically this is your home screen, and that just tells you that I'm logged in as a guest. Temperature outside is 85, 4:36 p.m. and then we go home, and that gives you the menu right here. So this is where you go for your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay phone projection. You have to actually turn that on. Passenger view, okay, that basically what it does is turns on the camera that I showed you in the back, and then you can see if the kids are misbehaving or not. And then if they pretend like they don't hear you, you can use that cabin talk, passenger talk button, so you can click this in and say, hey kids, behave. And what it does is it basically projects your voice through the speakers in the back of the cabin. So that is pretty cool feature. And the minivan, we've seen that. Again, this is not something completely new, but it's something new to Kia right now. What else is here? You have the quiet mode, and basically that is controlling the volume of the radio, and it will only play the radio in the front seats. So if the kids are sleeping in the back, you can hit the quiet mode without trying to figure out the settings yourself. Map navigation, voice memo, passenger talk. We've seen the voice memo on some of the other ones. That's pretty cool, because if you don't have a pen and paper, you just record it and then retrieve it later. Radio setup will have some sounds of nature. We've seen those before. My favorite creepy guy sneaking behind you. That's actually going to help us. Let's do the calm sea waves. And let's check out the surround sound. Okay, so that was your radio presentation. As pretty good. It actually feels like in a home theater almost. User's manual, it's all digital. It's available on your display right here. Media, UVO. So this is your infotainment system. We've seen before, so if you want a more detailed look, I mean, I've done it on the Telluride, I've done it on the Sorento, so you can check out those videos right here. As far as the aesthetics of this vehicle, I gotta tell you that they did a really nice job matching the exterior with the interior. So what you see on the exterior kind of projects into the interior. Nice quality materials, kind of multi-dimensional, multi-level. This is a nice cabin for driver, and then at the bottom here you have some shortcuts. So you have your volume and power button. Right next to it is your magic button to start the car, and then your shortcuts for map, navigation, radio, media, your again custom button, a setup button, and then your tune file, enter, you know, basically that's for your media control. Now this one is equipped with the digital display for the climate control, so anything EX and above would have this, and you know, you can control your temperature the old-fashioned way in here, and then you can actually do the front window defroster. Now this vehicle is not equipped with the heated or ventilated with the ventilated seats, but it is equipped with the heated seats, and the heated seats button is right here. This would be ventilated if it had it. Parking sensors, and we're going to check out the parking camera before we move on. So again, this one doesn't have a 360, and the guidelines move with the steering wheel, so it actually has a decent display. Same complaint as I had on the other ones. I wish that with the press of the screen it would take up the entire real estate, the entire screen, but this portion right here is actually reserved, I believe, for the 360 if it had it. Let's move back down here and let's check out a couple other things in here. So you have your climate control buttons, then at the bottom here you have your USB, and what's strange that these are regular USB. Most of the devices right now are compatible with the USB-C, the smaller USBs. Kia is still using the irregular USBs, and as you can see, that does have the wireless charging, which I believe is right in here. Yes, there's a little pocket that you can slide in your phone for wireless charging. Anything else that we have here is your big cup holders and your regular gear shifter. So then again, this is not a very minivan like, this is more of a sport utility like shifter. Then you have your parking brake, and then you can select drive modes. So let's see, because that's going to be a good indication if we have, and we do, we have smart, normal, eco, and sport. Just like on the regular SUVs, these are your drive modes that are available. On this Kia, again, an indication that they want you to think it's an MPV, not a minivan. Top console right here, this one does not have a sunroof, so it doesn't have any sunroof controls, but it does have your regular light controls. You got your Uvo switch in here, and then you have your emergency call button in here, and then of course you have your mirrors on both sides, and the lights are right on top of it, and you can actually turn those on or off. So guys, this is the interior of this brand new 2022 Kia Carnival, and I'm going to take it for a spin now. I hope you come with me. Well, all right guys, I'm about to take this mini MPV for a spin. It's kind of funny because you know, it says it's an MPV, so it's multi-purpose vehicle, which is great. It might be another name for a minivan, but it simply is a minivan. Because even on Kia's website, when you look to compare it, what it compares to, it compares with Toyota Sienna, Honda Odyssey, and Chrysler Pacifica, which is the only 3 other minivans remaining. But it definitely sounds better than the minivan sometimes, although I have nothing against minivans. But we're going to take it for a spin. I already checked out the rear view camera. So another thing that we normally do in these type of reviews is I'm going to find some painted parking spots, and I'm going to turn this vehicle around 360 degrees and basically see how many parking spots it takes to turn it around, so we have a better idea how it compares to the other vehicles in the segment. Turn the steering wheel all the way forward, and then we'll see how many parking spaces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and just a little bit. So just basically, I think the turning radius right now, the difference in between the vehicles is minimal. Whether, you know, it's a minivan or a larger sport utility, most of them will go in this 4 and just about a quarter, 4.5 maybe parking spaces. So turning radius is pretty tight. It feels good. The visibility is pretty good. Like I said, there's those big windows in the middle row seats. I mean, those are great. Kind of gives you a great view of the road and everything else. So we're going to take this on a quick spin around the block and see how it drives. Now, I'm not gonna really care about the acceleration, although it's important when merging on the expressway, merging on the into traffic, so you have enough horsepower to get up and going. But it certainly is not a sports vehicle, even though it does have a sports mode. So I don't care if it does 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. That's not the purpose of this car. But let's see. So it can actually get up and go. This is 290 horsepower. About the same as on the Honda Odyssey. It's tuned a little bit different because you can see a little bit of a difference in acceleration. This one seems more torquey and than the Honda Odyssey. It actually, I'm not even going to compare it to the Toyota Sienna, which probably would be the loudest of them all as far as acceleration. It's got the best gas mileage, but the acceleration is not really that great, especially with their CVT transmission. Let's take that through a couple turns here and see if the driver stays in control of the car or stays in his seat. Really, it's a people carrier. Okay, it's pretty darn comfortable people carrier. So let's talk about a couple different trims that are available on the Carnival. First of all, it starts with the LX model, and they start at about $32,000. Then, you know, the EX model, it's about $37,000, and this one is, just as it sits, is about $39,000 and some change, so it's just under $40,000. Now the EX, like this one, will come with the 12.3-inch screen. It comes with the heated seats. It comes with this seating surfaces that are leather-like materials. It's not real leather, but it's very nice and comfortable. And you know, then you have the SX model and the SX Prestige. So it tops off at about $46,000, just over $46,000. So actually, it tops off a little bit less than Honda Odyssey, and just by maybe $1,000 less or so. And then Toyota Sienna can go up to like $50,000+ actually. So a little bit less than that. Now, as far as the gas mileage, I mean, it does have a combined gas mileage of 22, so it certainly does not have a 30 miles per gallon just like the Sienna does, but you have to sacrifice something to gain something else. And I'm not sure, in my case, I would probably go for the performance and not having the CVT transmission than, you know, getting the gas mileage. Although I could probably be talking a little bit different if the gas is at $5 a gallon. Right now, doesn't make that much of a difference. Right now in US and pretty much all over the world, I guess, the only engine that is available is the 3.5 liter engine. It is a V6 engine that's available in the front wheel drive. So it's not available in the all-wheel drive, it's not available in the hybrid, it's not available in the smaller engine. So whether you get the LX base trim or whether you get the top of the line trim, you get the same engine and transmission. The only difference is going to be the amenities and the features that you get inside of this vehicle. So, I mean, as equipped at $40,000, I think it's a pretty good value for what you get, especially on the model like this. And I'm going to post everything there's only a couple options that are non-standard on the EX version. So I'm going to post those in the description of this video so you can check that out. I'm not a big fan of minivans, but I have really nothing against it. We had a minivan before, and it was the perfect road trip vehicle that we had. Matter of fact, as far as the roominess, we're missing a little bit of room in our current SUV, and in order to get more room, there's two options. We can go to a full-size SUV, or we can go to a minivan. And my wife says no more minivans. Full-size SUVs are too big, so we're kind of having a dilemma what to choose for our next car, but now we still have a few more months. Well guys, if you like videos like this, please hit like, subscribe, share it with your friends or family, so make sure you don't miss any of this video. Hit that little bell notifications buttons. This will conclude this video, and I will see you in my next video. Cheers.